can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Hi, you're watching First Sports. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. On the show today, India cricketer Smriti Mandhana gears up for life after that magical World Cup win and puts a key chapter behind her. Indian women's cricket has transformed this year and Smriti Mandhana seems to be the face of this revolution. The Liverpool and Salah fallout seems to have hit a whole country right where it hurts. Egypt is turning its back on the Reds. Will this be a setback Liverpool will struggle to surmount? And Lionel Messi is moments away from landing in India and taking the country by storm. What does the GOAT Tour promise? Is it just all entertainment and no football? Stay tuned. But first, the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with football, Manchester City edged past Real Madrid 2-1 in a Champions League thriller. After being 1-0 down in the first half, City bounced back. Nico O'Reilly scored the equaliser in the 35th minute. Erling Haaland scored the winner with a penalty stroke. In updates from the 2026 World Cup, the Pride event in Seattle will go ahead despite backlash from Egypt and Iran. The World Cup organizers confirmed Iran and Egypt will play their World Cup group stage matches on June 26 in Seattle. This is the same time where the Washington State will host the June Pride weekend as planned outside the stadium. Cambodia has withdrawn its team from the Southeast Asian Games in Thailand. Because of the border conflicts between the two countries, several flights between the two nations have been disrupted. The tournament is currently underway and will conclude on the 20th of December. Moving to the NBA, Los Angeles Lakers crashed out of the NBA Cup. Luka Doncic's 35-point performance went in vain as his side lost to San Antonio Spurs 119 to 132 points. Spurs will now face Oklahoma City Thunder in the semi-finals, which is on the 14th of December. And summing it up with ice hockey, America's women's side registered a historic 10-4 win over Canada in the third rivalry series game. Bouncing back from a 1-goal deficit, America scored 10 to win the match. Kelly Panic and Abby Murphy scored 2 goals each. America have won the 4-match series 3-0. The winter months are harsh, unforgiving, brutal and cold. While the festival spirit brings some warmth, the weather itself makes it a rather difficult time of the year. But here's the wonderful thing about seasons. They pass, and before you know it, you'll see the flowers bloom, the greens returning, the sun shining through. Smriti Mandhana was that ray of sunshine in an event she headlined last night as the captain and vice-captain of the Indian women's cricket team relived what has been a roller coaster of a ride, with the year 2025 drawing to a close and giving us all and many young aspiring cricketers out there the biggest life lesson. Now, it has been a tough year for Smriti Mandhana, the kind of year she wouldn't have dreamt of. But life has a way of throwing you a googly when you least expect it. The women managed to navigate all of it to clinch a historic title at the World Cup, and that win is the biggest turning point for Indian cricket. In commentator Ian Bishop's iconic words, a moment that will ignite a whole nation and its dreams. That's what this women's team achieved. The euphoria of it, although, was short-lived for Smriti Mandhana, who had more delicate matters to deal with on the personal front right after. And guess what she did 2 weeks post the wedding got called off? Back to the grind, back to what she loves the most. Cricket, batting, and batting up a storm. Taking that World Cup win as inspiration into 2026.
I don't think I love anything in life more than cricket. So when you go out to bat or when you go out to represent your country, I don't think any other thoughts are there in the mind. When you put on the Indian jersey, the only thing you want to do is represent India and win the match for the country.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, the biggest motivation is that when you put on the jersey and the India is written. I mean, I always tell everyone that once you put on the jersey, you just keep all your problems aside and just be on the field.
But behind that glowing smile And that self-confidence oozing through it isn't just her own drive and passion fueling it, not just her own family, it's her cricket mates. Her family on the field, who stood by her right through it all. Jemima Rodriguez, in fact, decided to give the WBBL a skip to stay on with Smriti the weeks preceding this. And that's what I'll take away from that World Cup win. Not just these women banding together to do the impossible and cross a line they never had till that point, but the family they had grown on to become in the process of it all, that took them over the line at times of personal strife. Sport brought them together, yes, but that dressing room, that's what gave them sisterhood.
अगर ये पर्टिकुलरली वर्ल्ड कप कैंपेन की बात करूँ तो हम पिछले 2 महीने से एक साथ हैं और सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, तो बॉन्ड इतने स्पेशल बन गए हैं, जैसे जेमिमा, अरू, राधा, माई सेल्फ, रिचा एंड शेफाली, मतलब बहुत स्पेशल है। सबको पता है कि सबके लिए क्या इम्पोर्टेंट है, किस टाइम पे किसको क्या ज़रूरत है, तो हर कोई हर किसी के लिए अवेलेबल रहता था उस मोमेंट के लिए।
That's what Smriti Mandhana showed us. Grief, sorrow, where? She last helped India win a World Cup, and she's going to play a bilateral next before WPL, of course, comes calling, where she will lead RCB again. The same RCB that broke the jinx through her captaincy when they lifted the title in its second edition. That's what Smriti Mandhana does, and does better than most the world over. Moving on and never looking back. Unwittingly, Smriti Mandhana today is the face of Indian women cricketers having turned a corner. They have gone from being cricketing sheroes to inspirational women, the kind you aspire to be, defining a generation of grit, courage and the will to go through the trickiest of times that can stall and derail the very best. Come out of it, slap on a smile and show the world this is why the grandest stage belongs to you. It is truly yours, not because you have earned it, but because you know how to own it. Liverpool and Mohamed Salah, two names that breathed the same air, lived the same dream and carried the same identity and destiny for 8 straight years, suddenly look like they're living two completely different lives. The fallout has been massive, the wounds are public and the future, well, completely unpredictable. And the biggest question today is, if this relationship ends badly, who loses more, Salah or Liverpool? Because while England's football culture is backing the club, Saudi has rejected the Egyptian for now. A massive section of a global fan base, an entire region is now silently turning its back on Liverpool. Tonight we bring you the full picture. It of course all began the moment Salah openly called out the Liverpool management for putting him on the bench. What followed wasn't just tension, it was an explosion. Salah was dropped for the Champions League clash against Inter Milan. Liverpool won that match 1-0, a rare positive in a season full of cracks. But even that victory couldn't really distract fans from the headline dominating every corner of world football, the Salah-Liverpool fallout. And remember, when a football great is involved, the earthquake isn't local, it's global. Even Saudi Arabia, a league that has chased Salah for years now, seems to be taking a stance here.
First, I'm not entirely sure if they all want him. There's a narrative around him that they asked him to come before and he rejected us. He doesn't strike me as a great team player. Speaking out about your ownership after signing a contract like that.
Look, Mohamed Salah is a wonderful player. He has a huge fan base all over the world, but also a huge fan base in the Arab world. To be honest, I have no idea if he's able to come to Saudi, but it really depends on if he's the right fit for the club and for the league.
For a league that once offered a record-shattering contract to just bring him in a few months ago, these are not normal words. These are words from a league that wants to protect its pride after Salah rejected them earlier. And then there is Anfield, a place that once worshipped him, a fan base that sang his name louder than they sang the club anthem. Today, that mood is turning.
Salah's a hero to everyone and everything, but what he's done there, you should never ever do.
He's been disrespectful, saying that he doesn't have to train to start games.
Nobody's bigger than the club. He's right to be left out this team now. There's a new guard. We need to work a new team into this, and he knows that. He has to work harder. Simple.
The frustration is real. The love has fault lines, and with every interview, every quote, every hint of a friction, the legend's legacy is being questioned.
Mo Salah was known as the guy who failed at Chelsea. That's just a fact. He'd never won a major trophy before he came to Liverpool. He's also the greatest player his country has ever had. Egypt in the African Cup of Nations are the most successful nation. But Mo Salah has never won the AFCON.
This is how quickly emotions shift when a hero becomes the centre of a controversy. But while England debates loyalty versus betrayal, something far bigger is happening elsewhere. Egypt, a country that didn't just support Salah, it adopted Liverpool because of him. A cafe in Cairo, once packed to the doors during Liverpool matches, now sits nearly empty. During Liverpool versus Inter Milan, only a handful showed up, and even they weren't watching, some scrolling on phones, others playing cards.
If the percentage of people watching Liverpool matches in the village was 90%, it's now 3%.
As you can see, the cafe is empty. The public knows that Salah isn't playing today, so no one came to the cafe to watch Liverpool.
We were eagerly awaiting Salah's match with Liverpool. But today we are not even watching Liverpool because Salah isn't playing.
There used to be hardly room to stand in this cafe or the neighbouring ones. But now nobody wants to watch the Liverpool match, even while it's ongoing now.
The message is loud. Egypt isn't just angry, Egypt is hurt. And when emotions change in the country, the entire Arab world feels that. And that is where Liverpool's biggest loss really lies. Because Salah's impact isn't just footballing, it is cultural, emotional, generational. He became the face of Arab pride in Europe, the symbol of what football could mean beyond trophies. Lose Salah, and Liverpool loses an entire region of support. Let's talk numbers. When Cristiano Ronaldo moved to Saudi Arabia, he lifted an entire league. Revenue skyrocketed, social media exploded, broadcast interests doubled. Messi's move to MLS, it transformed American football. A league struggling for relevance suddenly had global attention. Superstars don't just join teams, they bring nations with them. And Salah is that superstar for the Arab world. Saudi may say he's not the right fit. Owners may hint they're moving on. But let's be honest here, if the right deal is on the table, no club rejects the chance to sign up one of the biggest Arab players of all time. Because football is not just played on the pitch, it's played in markets, in boardrooms, in broadcast numbers, and in hearts. And that's why in this entire saga, Liverpool stands to lose far more than Salah. He will always have Egypt, the Middle East, the global fan base that sees him as inspirational. He will always have options, always have leagues chasing him. Salah will walk into any team in the world tomorrow and instantly shift the balance of attention. If not Saudi, Salah's hunger will take him elsewhere. And he will take his fan base along with him. But Liverpool, they risk losing exactly that. Something you can't really buy back. Global emotional connection. India is gearing up for an arrival unlike any other we've seen in the past decade. One of the greatest athletes to ever walk this planet, Lionel Messi, is touching down to India. His GOAT tour kicks off mid-December with the Kolkata leg. 4 cities, 3 days, and one footballer the country has worshipped from afar for years. Fans have already begun booking special packages, some costing as much as a small car, just to catch a glimpse of the man who changed modern football. And after the heartbreak of the Kerala snub, this tour feels nothing short of redemption. But here's the twist. Just days before the tour begins, one thing is absolutely clear. The 3-day spectacle is everything beyond football. And the latest addition, a ramp walk in Mumbai. So the million-dollar question, after waiting 14 long years for him, will Indian fans actually get to see the Messi they fell in love with? Our next report tells you more.
India is preparing for the most high-profile sports arrival of the year. Lionel Messi stepping on Indian soil after 14 long years. The excitement is sky high, especially after the much-anticipated friendly in Kerala was abruptly postponed. So now, all hopes and all heartbreak are pinned on the GOAT Tour. 4 cities, a pan-India sweep, a plan neatly laid out to touch almost every major region in the country. But while having Messi anywhere, in any form, is a generational moment, his itinerary has raised one big question. Is Messi coming, or is Messi appearing? It is the real Lionel Messi from Rosario. No duplicates, no stand-ins. But the real concern is, will we see the Messi who glides past defenders, curls in blinders, and makes goalkeepers question their life choices? Because the GOAT Tour has almost nothing to do with football. Unless, of course, you consider a laid-back celebrity friendly as football. Let's break down the schedule. Messi begins where Indian football is arguably heard the loudest, Kolkata. A meet and greet, a virtual statue inauguration, a half-hour friendly, and an interaction session. Great for memories. Not exactly great if you were hoping to see a vintage left-footed thunderbolt. Messi lands in Hyderabad next, to play a friendly that features the chief minister himself. And then, a musical concert. Yes, football meets live music. The crossover we didn't think we'd ever see. Mumbai gets the most entertainment industry version of Messi. Paddle, celebrity football, and the biggest twist, a charity fashion show. An event that will also hand out memorabilia from his 2022 World Cup campaign. A collector's dream, but again, not exactly the new camp night you imagined. Messi wraps up with an interaction in Delhi and a high-profile meeting with the Prime Minister. So, let's be honest, we're getting everything except football. Any friendly match Messi plays on this tour will be a much lighter, toned-down version of the real deal. It's like Coldplay coming to India, but not for a concert but a humming session instead. The reason is simple. The highlight isn't footballer Messi. It's global superstar Messi, brand Messi, commerce Messi, because the ticket prices, massive. Entry starts at around $50, but if you want to be close to the man, shake his hand, take a photo, or breathe the air within his radius, we're talking $11,000 all the way up to a jaw-dropping $120,000. That's not a ticket, that's a down payment on a flat. So yes, the GOAT Tour will be anything but football. But here's the strange beauty of Messi. Even if he's not scoring goals, even if he's not slicing through defenders, even if he's walking a ramp or playing paddle, his presence is still an event. A spectacle. A moment to tell generations, I saw Lionel Messi in person. And that's enough for millions. Let's just not talk about the Hong Kong episode. At the end of the day, the GOAT Tour isn't about tiki-taka or towering free kicks. It's about India finally getting its moment with a global icon. It's about marketing, spectacle, showbiz, and commerce, yes, but it's also about emotion. The emotion of fans who've watched him for 2 decades on their screens. Football or no football, ramp walk or paddle, Lionel Messi's arrival will still be one of the biggest sports entertainment events India has ever hosted.
Time for last serve. Doctors say cycling is great for your health, but what if we told you it can also fuel something far bigger, like the power needed to launch an airplane? In a world first, 9 professional cyclists have done the impossible. No engines, no fuel, just pure human strength. They successfully propelled a glider plane into the sky using nothing but pedal power. An unbelievable display of endurance, precision and teamwork. Watch this incredible feat take flight in Mallorca. That wraps it up here on Firstpost. I'll of course see you again tomorrow. Till then, do take care. Bye-bye.
I was born into revolution. I inherited power like a crown. What I delivered was isolation. I built a personality cult that touched every home. Millions suffered hunger under my rule, but no one dared to speak. I ruled from palaces. My people queued for rice. I called myself the dear leader. History calls me something else, the dictator. Who am I?